you had the inspiration for the song. Where did you find out about this opportunity? I suppose would be a good place to start.
I am always looking on New Zealand On Air funding
Yeah.
for like years, because as a musician I have no money. So how else am I meant to do a music video? So I think in the past I've always done it, and I didn't know about Waiata Takitahi. It's just I looked it up, I think last year maybe. We did release our album a few years ago. And that's when I saw that on there. And so I knew that was a thing, but I didn't really look into it until I started being like, oh, I'll write a song in Te Reo Māori. And then I was like, oh, that thing. So I looked it up. And I think we only had 3 weeks or something, because I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
It's just we now have very little time to sort this out.
What did you do to apply for this?
It was arduous. But
all grants are.
like any kind of bureaucracy is, right?
Yeah.
You have,
especially when you're not used to doing it.
Oh, honestly, my head, and I worked data management for a while, and I've never drunk so much whiskey in my life. So, this is not my area of expertise.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy this. I actively avoid it. So it was, you have to meet a criteria. There's 25 things, and you have to meet 5 of them. I have been hinting to the band for maybe 2 years, these things that need to be done to get the criteria. And we managed that. I think the biggest one was probably our album release, actually having that many people come and pay for a gig. That really helps. Because before then it was we've played festivals to lots of people, but they're not there for us. So it's a
big shout out to anyone who came to our
thank
release.
Thank you so
much. big thank you.
But also it's everyone else, you have to have a social media with 1.5k. So because other people listen to us and like us and engage with us, we're able to apply for a grant. And I think we had 9 out of 25. So, maybe the song will get us more.
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a whole section of anti-independent artist. I don't know if that's a nice thing to say, but it's very much what's your label?
Yeah.
And
are you a part of the system?
Yeah, and is there someone external that are going to promote you even more? Can we trust that you're going to do that well? Which is fair.
Well, and that's totally a thing that has been kind of really eye-opening for us going through this. Well, for me going through this experience is, we got, and I've done grants and things like that before, and I've had links with the wider New Zealand network, but you get given this money, and then all of a sudden the network comes to you as opposed to you going to the network. And that's been quite because we can kind of see how the pieces all align, and how the most efficient ways, albeit costing money, to communicate with the wider industry across New Zealand, and how to get on mainstream radio, even though we're not really having that discussion yet. But that kind of thing where as an independent artist from, Dunedin of all places, that just the knowledge base that we have down here of how that works is really, really limited, I feel.
Yeah.
But this has been quite eye-opening for us to know that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a real privilege. I definitely had my doubts, because so the song has to be 25% Reo, and I felt like it was wanted to be bilingual, and mine's not, because that wasn't what I wanted to do. So yeah, I was a bit worried that we wouldn't get it based on 100% Reo, but we did. So I'm just stoked. I'm surprised.
Well, I remember we put it in. We sort of rattled off a demo and then sent it out. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I was like, there's not a hope in hell we're getting this. I thought, look, we've got to start getting it out there, having a go at things.
Yeah. But
when you said, look at the list, and there's our name right at the bottom, going, holy crap, that's amazing. It's such a privilege and so exciting, something we never expected. It's given that we haven't had, we're not on the radar, so to speak, for this kind of thing before. So to get that little first step is really exciting.
Totally. the negative bias was super strong too, because I was like waiting for that email, like it arrived a day late. It was very anxiety provoking.
Yeah.
And then when I got it, I was like, oh, we didn't get it, because we were at the bottom of the list. I was like, oh, we didn't get it. Like,
Yeah,
I looked, I
that's
skimmed read and was like, oh. And I was trying my best. It's like when you're in a real good part of your book and like you're reading, but you're trying not to jump ahead. And I was like trying to read it, just read this email. But then I saw the top of the picture and I was like, I need to scroll down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I didn't get it. And I was so gutted.
And we
I
should
looked
point
again
out,
and I was like,
wait,
we
are there?
Oh my goodness. Why is it Brennan?
That's our name. So it's a typo. Someone spelled a different collective wrong.
Yeah. And then that imposter syndrome of like, surely they made a mistake. Like, they must have made a mistake, and I'm going to get an email being like, all that excitement you just experienced the past hour has been taken away from you.
Yeah, and I guess, like, we should point out this is, like, we have tried things before. Nothing like this ambitious, but so it's not a matter of, like, we're fluked it the first time. Like, we've been trying things and putting stuff in and having that vision. And, like, I guess as artists, it's difficult because we all like doing our own thing. But then we also need to but the demand for what these grants want have a very specific thing. So this is where, like, it's been kind of our ambitions and goals have aligned serendipitously. How much work was it? This writing of the song was one thing, but how much work was it to actually apply?
It really wasn't much. It's just a lot of brain headaches. I think also, like, if I was like maybe 5 years ago, didn't have a kid and like was focused on this, it would be real easy. But it's that like split of like, okay, I can only do it after 8 o'clock at night. And 8 o'clock at night isn't really where you're thinking the best.
No.
So it was tricky. It probably took a week, but it didn't need to take that long. It didn't need to be that hard. Plus, if you like keep up with what you do as a band, it's way easier. But because like we don't have like a file I can go to, like how much people came to our gig, it was a constant conversation with everyone of like everyone else's knowledge.
Tricky as part-timers, right? Because, for the majority of the time we get given gig opportunities or things. So we spend a lot of our time and energy preparing for those performances and not getting the opportunity, the downtime, or like, oh, we've got nothing on the calendar coming up. Let's focus on some big picture stuff, which has been really, we're going 10 years as in the format that we're at now. To have that kind of time to go, right, well, let's look at doing some creative projects as opposed to looking for gigs and things. I think that helped. And I think after the album, when we kind of had a big, not drop off, but I mean, inevitably you have the fuzzy highs of releasing something, and you get a lot of good feedback, and then you all, it's only a few months and then it's nothing. Nothing, and so having that next step, and, this was entirely you that planned that next step. The rest of us were sitting on our thumbs. And
well, I mean, I feel like I was just like, this is happening.
Good. Yeah.
Well, which is good, but it also could be bad. I don't know. Like, it's something I want, so it was very much like, I'm doing this. And then, we didn't think we were going to get it, so it wasn't like, I'm doing this and then it's going to be a whole bunch of work for us. It was just like, I'm doing this. And then it was like, by the way, we've got a whole bunch of work. You're along for the ride. Come with me.
But the thing is about when it's essentially paid for, it doesn't feel quite so much as like work. Like, we're not trying to scrounge money together to get things up, and with it doesn't come that stress of saying, shit, we're never gonna be able to pay for this. Because it's paid for. We just need to make it happen, and that has been like,
so something we've wanted to do for a long time, but always just been met with like, that's so out of reach. Like, it would be great one day. Today's the day, which is interesting. It's overwhelming in the best way.
I guess we're just summarizing what we had to do. So we had the criteria that we spent the better part of 10 years trying to achieve. Where you went through the criteria and applied with the project in mind. You would explain what the project was. In terms of detail, how much did you have to have ready?
So there was like an idea of what, like, the song. So you had to have a demo. Which means you had to have an idea of the song for sure. And they had a panel that listened to your song, I assume, and went yeah or nah based on that. So I guess it's more like their feels on the song, which again, like it's whoever listens to it gets to decide what it's about and how they feel about it. Yeah,
and how it aligns with their goals.
Yeah, we got it. I just like can't. I'm just still waiting for the email being like,
oh sorry, it was a typo.